But I'm telling you right now, those 3 simple steps every single day, they give you life. And with that, they give you quality of life. And you know how, like with your kids, you're like, oh, you know, you see their potential and you're like, man, if only they could see themselves as I see them, you know, or you guys, if you follow me much, you know where my faith lies. I don't force my faith onto other people, but I do speak about my faith because like it's just what I know and what I personally experience. But you know, I pray that my kids not only see themselves as I see them, but also, you know, as God sees them, right? And sees that worth and sees that potential. Well, so when it comes to you guys, it's the same thing. It's like, oh, if they could only see all that I've seen, if they could only hear all that I've heard, they would run with this with all that they have, because what is at your fingertips is you actually get to define, like the story of your life gets to define what this opportunity truly means for each of you. And to me, that just still gives me chills to this day, like, because all of us have our own personal experiences. But the bottom line and that common denominator really is that we've had an opportunity here that hands down is the best opportunity we'll ever have in our career lifetime to truly earn a residual income that pays us when we sleep, that pays us in those dark times when you haven't slept for 30 days and you're focused on your child, right? That pays you when you're on a vacation with your family, that pays you consistently for your consistent efforts over time, just for talking about something that you love. And so I always say that's the best gig ever. So I'm going to take you guys back because not everyone knows my story. Basically, I was just a tired, exhausted mama who wanted to feel better. My background's in speech pathology. So everything about what I did for a career involved helping people improve their quality of life. But I was in a funk of all funks. My insecurities were through the roof. They were even causing some issues in our marriage because when you're insecure, then you're not that great of a wife. We all know that. And there were lots of things that were not so great. We had moved to West Texas. We were in a financial hole. We had drained all our savings to move here or do the move here. I didn't work for several months. So money was super tight. Stress level was high. I was in a funk. We didn't have any friends or family around to help us out with the kids. 4 kids. My twins were 3 years old. And I was pouring everything I had into my work all day long and then really didn't have much to give my family when I came home. So Tony Strathman, actually is a nurse, and she had worked with me previously where we used to live in North Texas. And honestly, she had seen me like running in the door, throwing paperwork, or, you know, have 2 babies in the car seats, like running in the door. Please don't call the cops on me and arrest me as I'm leaving the car, running, throwing in paperwork, get back in the car. Yes, that was real life. That's really what I did. Because time was everything and I had no time. So she had seen me. She knew I was a good therapist, but by God, she saw me go from 2 kids to 4 kids overnight. And I think she felt sorry for me. She was like, oh, this mama, you know. But what happened was she had experienced Thrive. She was feeling amazing as a grandmother. So she's in a totally different stage of life than me. But she was also helping all these other people that were tired, exhausted mamas, and they were getting their mommy mojo back. They were feeling good. And so she had messaged me, y'all. She messaged me before this company ever even launched Dermafusion technology. So for those of you that don't know, the company launched with only 2 products, Capsules, Lifestyle Mix. Okay. She had reached out to me before DFT was ever launched. And y'all, I sent her the cattiest, nastiest message back that I'm so ashamed of. But I didn't feel good and I didn't want to hear from her. And I didn't want to be sold to. And I didn't want to hear that I needed something else. And so I was catty. There were plenty of messages that I ignored. But finally, when I hit that wall and said, enough's enough, I've got to do something for myself. I've got to do something for my family. Honestly, not a pair of jeans in my closet fit because I gained some weight. And that's probably when I was like, I have to do something, is when I reached out to her. And the funny thing is, y'all, is that she and I were not close. Like we weren't friends. We were work acquaintances. You know, I had a lot of respect for her as a professional, but I had a lot of friends on Facebook that were promoting other nutritional supplements that I totally could have gone to. But she was so persistent, and I'm going to tell you what we have that is so golden, guys. And this is what is so important when you are sharing your Thrive experience is simplicity and stories and success. Okay. So I want you guys to write that down. Simplicity, stories, and success. Okay. It was simple. I kept seeing people say simple. Guys, when something is simple, people are going to stick to it. And we all know that the longer we stick to something, you know, the more consistency over time, we're going to have results, right? She had stories. There were stories of people feeling better. Now, back in the day, we didn't have a compliance department that was tweaking down all our stories and making them compliant. So there was lots of stories out there that were saying all kinds of stuff, right? But the stories are stories. They're real, right? There were stories. And I was seeing success. There were people earning an iPad, okay? I'm like, okay, I know enough about direct sales. You don't just earn an iPad unless something's going right. There were people earning a freaking car bonus. Okay, you don't earn a car bonus unless something's going right. You got a product that's working, you got happy people, you've got people making money. Like, there's no way that you can earn a car unless something is working well, right? So that is what made me reach out to her. Again, I had a lot of friends that were promoting a lot of other products that I personally could have gone to them about, but it was the simplicity, the stories, and the success. So let's make sure that you are always sharing the simplicity, the simple 1, 2, 3, the stories. Guys, we have so many stories. Fan page, YouTube, your own personal story. And it can be as simple as, you know, oh my gosh, this time of year, I would have always had a headache every day. So crazy, I don't have to deal with that anymore. Or, oh my gosh, y'all, I don't even know who I am anymore. I'm like waking up, and this is 7 years into my experience. So I guess like over time, Thrive just does something to you. But I mean, this morning I knew I was going to the ranch with Ralph. And so I woke up at 5:30 to go get a workout in before I went to the ranch with him. Like, I never did that before, okay? And I certainly never got up at 4:15 to go run with my girlfriends, which I'm doing all that all the time now. I have no idea who I am anymore. But that Thrive life kind of changes who you are, right? Even to this day, like, it's so funny, just the little things that I notice. Who the heck am I? But that's what's so important, is sharing all of that. Okay, so back to that. I reach out to her. I'm going to Thrive, but I had to wait on a paycheck to hit the mailbox to take to the bank, y'all. And she offered me free DFT if I ordered a tone pack. Okay, so it took me 8 or 9 months to finally say I'm ready. DFT had already launched by then. And she said, I'll send you free DFT if you'll order a tone pack. Back then, that was a $140 pack. So I ordered that. No, she sent that to me, and I had to message her and say, Tony, my paycheck didn't arrive. I couldn't place my order yet. That was embarrassing. Because I thought, oh no, she's going to think I'm just totally going to flake out on her. And she already sent me like free product or whatever. Felt terrible, but finally got paid, got the check in the bank, placed my order as a customer. Did not even want to talk to her for a second about this business. I don't have time, Tony. I'm not going to promote anything. Not doing that direct sales thing, Tony. I'm already doing something else, Tony. No. Start my Thrive experience. Day 1, I felt weird. Like, what? Not feeling weird, but like my brain was like, why is this all there is to this? Like, if people are saying this is so good, like all I did was take 2 capsules, a shake, slept on a DFT. Like, that was so weird. Because what I haven't told you yet is I was a total supplement junkie before Thrive. Like, took supplements for 11 years, 25, 30 pills a day. Okay. And so day 2 and 3 kind of came and went. Day 4, we had family in town. I couldn't wait for them to leave so I could go home and take a nap because I had a headache. Day 5, I was up all night with the sick kiddo. Got up early to take my older kids to school. And I just remember thinking, around noon, I was standing in our kitchen at the time, different home than what we have now. And I remember thinking, oh my gosh, I've done more in the last 5 hours than I have in the last 5 months. And that, to me, I pulled up my Facebook and I wrote on her wall, and I was like, oh my gosh, Tony, I feel amazing. I cannot believe it took me this long to try this. I want to find out how to get it for free. Back to work I go. Because she had mentioned free in those initial conversations. And y'all, that is such a big deal when you're sharing how simple it is. You're sharing the stories, you're sharing the successes, right, of the VIP 800, or earning product for free, or Maui gyms, or 12K auto bonus, you know, whatever it may be. And if you're not at 12K yet, when those of us are sharing our auto bonus day on Tuesday, go share that picture and say, I will be here. I will be earning my auto bonus by blah, 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 blah. If that is your goal, throw it out there. You know, why not? And what was my point there? I wanted to know about getting it for free. But my biggest thing was, I'm going to support my friend that does direct sales. Like, that's just what you should do, right? So she calls me and she's laughing at me because I sound totally different than the last time we had talked on the phone, because now I'm thriving. So I'm a little nicer, right? And she's laughing at me and she's like, yeah, I told you, you know, whatever. And she's like, well, I've got somebody that wants to talk to you. She goes, he's actually the person that introduced me to Thrive. So she puts me on the phone with Paul Gravett, who just so happens to be the co-founder and the co-CEO of the company, that he was her friend that had introduced her to Thrive. And I didn't feel like I was talking to a CEO of a company. I was talking to Tony's friend. But I'll never forget, in his little Southern voice that he uses, and I know everybody says I have an accent too, but I just remember him saying, girl, you know a lot of tired mama friends that need this. And y'all, I was like, oh my gosh, I do. Like, I know so many people that need this. Okay, when you're connecting to someone, when you're introducing them, the moment that they feel something, girl, don't you know so many of your friends need this? Like, that picture was instantly painted. As a matter of fact, even before they feel something, girl, who do you know? Who do you know that has a hard time sleeping? Who do you know that has headaches all the time? Who do you know that has a long commute or has a lot of kids or is having a homeschool right now? Who do you know that's a teacher right now? They need this. With just two of your friends, you know a whole lot more than two people that would benefit from this, but with two of your friends, you can thrive for free. See, I hope you realize I'm giving you like a whole bunch of, like, we call them millionaire tips around here as I'm sharing my story. Okay, so take notes on this. But that picture was painted for me, right? And I got off the phone and, but he did mention, and you can earn up to $660 on your first $800 in orders. And I'm like, I'm taking notes and I'm like, how the heck do y'all make any money if you're paying out $660 on $800 in orders, you know? And then you can earn $1,320 on $1,600. I'm like, is there a catch to this? Like, how do y'all make any money? And they're just kind of laughing at me because I'm like, this just doesn't even seem real. Like, how do they make any money in doing this, you know? And Tony's like, well, but Mauria, that's their fast start bonus. That's just the coming. And I knew enough about direct sales. I'd actually done a party plan business with jeans years ago, worked my tail off. There was no residual in that, because a girl buys a pair of jeans, she's not buying a pair of jeans every single month. You guys have no idea how fortunate we are that we actually promote something that, like, people want over and over and over and over again. Okay. I tried another couple of direct sales companies, failed at those. But I did not understand, like, the whole fast start. So I'm like, okay. So we get off the phone, and that night I'm looking at my husband and I'm telling him all this. Now, granted, he started taking my product when I got mine in, and he noticed something on day one, even on the women's capsules. So he didn't say anything. Thank God he didn't rub it in my face. But when I'm telling him, literally it's a free click of a button, I can be a promoter, and there's, like, no strings attached. And, like, if I do this, I can earn this bonus, and Christmas is coming, and we were struggling financially, and the only way we could bring in more money at that moment was for me to take on more patients. Because as a speech therapist, I was a contract therapist, so I got paid per visit. Well, if I did that, I would have to go to work once Ralph got home to watch the kids, or I would have to work on the weekends so when he could watch the kids. So this was like a no-brainer. I'm like, I know a zillion people that need this. And I really thought instantly that everyone would say yes to me. I found out otherwise very quickly. But I do remember saying, what are people going to think? Like, I'm a speech pathologist. I have this master's degree. Like, what are people going to think that I'm promoting this, like, home-based business? And he's like, who the hell cares what people think? Like, my husband does not give a crap what people think. I've learned not to give a crap what people think. But I was worried about that initial judgment, And the funny thing is I will tell you, I'm so glad I didn't worry about those other people, because I made a hell of a lot more money with this than I ever would as a speech pathologist. It would have taken me decades to make what I've been able to make with this little home-based business that I work from my phone, from anywhere, from the ranch, from on the way to games, on the way home from games. I mean, I'm a full-time mom, full-time thriver, and this has blessed our socks off. So click the free promoter button. The first girl I called said yes. I'm like, score. Like, she became a promoter. I'm like, this is going to be the easiest thing ever. And then like the next 25 people like blew me off or told me no or ignored my message or whatever. But I did hit the floor running. And, you know, those initial goals, guys, where it was just VIP 800, VIP 1600, because I wanted to give my kids a Christmas like I'd always given my kids a Christmas. I didn't want just this move to West Texas and me being off work to make it where they couldn't have the Christmas that they wanted. And I wanted to pay cash for Christmas. Like, I could put that on a credit card, but we already had plenty of debt and I didn't need to add any more to that. But y'all, what happened was I was sharing my story. I was connecting people to Tony because I worked all the time. And so I didn't have time to just mess around with people. Like, I was doing three-way calls. We didn't do messenger chats and we didn't do texting, y'all. We did three-way calls. And I would put her on the phone with everyone. There were times where she would be on the phone with someone that was interested in Thrive. And I would have to say, hey guys, if I go silent, that means I've arrived at my patient's house and I've got to go in and get to work. And my phone would be on mute in my bag. And Tony was working my business for me. I was treating my patient because that's what paid the bills at the time. And it was a win-win and my business was growing. And you know what I found real quickly? There were people that they wanted to feel better too. When I said free, they wanted it for free. When I said I'm earning cash for Christmas, they wanted cash for Christmas. And then what do you know, come January, I'm like, dude, this thing is growing. We can use these weekly rewards to start paying off debt. And y'all, I went on an all-out blitz. I mean, I was still working as much as I possibly could as a speech pathologist, but I know Dana the other night talked to you guys about, I mean, you can get to 200K a variety of different ways. I don't even know, y'all, that I was running for 200K because back then, like, they didn't make a big deal over 200K. Like, there was no such thing as, like, we didn't know who all the 200Ks were in the company. I didn't know who other leaders were in the company. And I will tell you this, one of the best things about my journey is I wasn't watching what anybody else was doing. I was worried about what I was doing. And I'm so grateful for that. That was one of my biggest blessings. So you guys, if you're watching what other people are doing, you've got to eliminate that. You've got to put your blinders on because this is your journey and it is full force ahead. And as women alone, we really can get sucked into playing that comparison game, and that comparison will slow you down. And the reality is those people you're comparing yourself to, you want to trade places with them in their life for anything if you knew it all, but you're only seeing the highlight reel, right? So then it slows you down because then you think you're not enough, you're not worth. I mean, all the things that women tell ourselves that's just the enemy lying to us, right? But I had those blinders on because I didn't know anything else. I knew me and my team. I knew there was a Lavelle live call and we got people on those calls and we would be blowing a chat room up, which by the way, our chat room is quiet. Tell me where you're from. Like, where are you right now? I have my computer in front of me and then I'm on my phone because I want to see you people, but the chat is quiet. Y'all are so quiet tonight. So let me know where you are so I know. But we would be on Lavelle live calls, and as a team, we would be in a messenger chat and we'd be like, oh my God, did you hear that? Oh my gosh, did you hear that? Oh my gosh, that reminds me of our girlfriend from high school. Wait a second, I'm going to go message her. And so like we got that confidence from each other because we were doing things together, right? Like, I don't know about you guys, but if you have ever been on a call with Paul, or you've been on a Zoom like this and you're like, boom, I'm going to like, go, like we get that courage, like all of a sudden, like that message that you're going to send that is just like going to make you have butterflies in your stomach. You're like, oh no, I'm going to do it now. Like, that's what we did, right? And like I said, went on that all out blitz to eliminate debt. So I wasn't chasing a rank. I was chasing a goal for my family. I felt like we had a second chance in life. I owed $80,000 in student loan debts, not not 8,000, $80,000 in student loan debt. Y'all, we paid more on my student loans than most people pay on their mortgage. Okay. I hated that. My daughter was in junior high. I would lay in bed at night going, how in the world am I going to eliminate this debt? And how am I going to save money for her college? I don't want her to have student loans. And I only had that short amount of time. This company made it possible. This was the vehicle. I had to decide. But literally, I just started laying out all of our debt. And I want you guys to do this. If you have debt, I want you doing it. If you don't have debt, praise Jesus, don't get your butt in debt, okay? But you take everything, and you've got to write it out. Okay, what is the smallest credit card? I have that balance written down. What's the next biggest? What's the next? What's the next? And then we started on all the others. We had financed some stupid stuff. Like, I don't know. We just did not make good financial decisions. Okay, so this was our second chance as a family to put ourselves in a better position financially. Lavelle was the vehicle. I had to blab my mouth about Thrive. I had to connect with people. I had to reach out to tons of people. I had to not be distracted by the no's. But let me tell you a trick here. If you are reaching out to a ton of people, if you have a lot of things going on, if you've got team members going VIP 800, you've got team members connecting people to you, you've got people you're connecting with, when you have like a zillion people that you're talking to, you don't have time to worry about that one person that said something nasty back to you. Odds are most people just will ignore you. And y'all, an ignore is not a no. When someone ignores you or doesn't respond to you, do not chalk that up to a no. That means they like you enough, they don't want to hurt your feelings. Okay? That means they probably don't know enough about Thrive. That means they don't want to tell you no. Okay? But that also means they're not ready to say yes. So they don't go on the no list. They go on the, I'm going to follow up. I'm going to keep sprinkling some Thrive in there. I'm going to keep paying attention to them in their life. I'm going to keep building this relationship with them, because I don't really know why they need Thrive if I don't know anything about them, right? I can't, and I'm not going to find a story on the fan page that would remind me of them if I don't know anything that's going on in their life, right? But that's another thing that was a blessing for me, is I went on such an all-out mission that I had so many things happening at the same time that one person didn't slow me down or like completely. Now, did I get nasty messages back? Oh, yes. Did I have somebody tell me like lose their phone number? Yes. And I'm like, girl, you're the one that needs it the most. That's what I want to type back, right? Like, girl. But can't do that. What do we say? We got to love them where they are. And again, I have to remember, I wasn't super nice to Tony. Like, I was embarrassed I'm still embarrassed to this day to look back at those messages. And I don't want y'all seeing those messages either. But new person with Thrive, right? But we just kept going and we just kept going. And yes, we did get to 200K. Yes, I did get that auto bonus. I remember calling Paul in December. So I signed up at the end of October. By December, or in November, I hit my auto bonus. And in December, I got my car, because I just thought, well, that's what you're supposed to do. Like, I hit an auto bonus, I go get a car. And I traded in a used Suburban on a used Cadillac Escalade. And I remember calling into the dealership, because back then you could actually talk to Paul on the phone. And I'm like, okay, is there a catch to this? Like, Paul, I'm fixing to go buy this vehicle. Like, I'm going to be able to pay for this thing, right? Like, and he's laughing at me and he's like, if you will keep doing what you're doing, you're never going to have to worry about making that car payment. And y'all, that is the key here. When you're on fire for this, you just got to stay on fire, and you just got to keep your fire lit. And that's something that I really wanted to talk to you guys about, because I don't know if you guys have seen, but I threw out something to my team-wide 200Ks. We have a lot of people. Leanne's going to be there next week. I'm so excited. But we have a lot of people that are going to be in Florida together. And the title of this is Legacy Vision Success Retreat. And the reason that I titled it that is because Jason Camper had actually zoomed into my personally enrolled retreat that I'd had last month, and he talked to us about that legacy vision. And y'all, I'm going to tell you, yes, in the beginning of this, there was a lot of very specific goals here and now, right? And everyone starts out with that. You want the here and now. You want that referred to so you thrive for free, right? That VIP 100, that's the here and now. The VIP 1600, the Maui Gems in 4K and 12K and auto bonus. But y'all, very quickly, I'll never forget, 3 months after I'd started this, I actually got the privilege to meet Jason Camper and Paul Gravette at a Lavelle local. And y'all, when we start doing that again, which I mean, you just go do it. Like, just go have a local. Follow your guidelines in your area or whatever. Have it outside. Mask up if you have to. Do whatever. Get thrivers in a room with non-thrivers. But Paul painted a picture of a vision of, I love Christmas. We Griswold, like, I am elf. Like, I love Christmas. Like, my house looks like, I had a friend say it looks like Santa threw up in there. I love Christmas. And so Paul in the room that night, he told everybody to close their eyes, which y'all, that's so weird when somebody does that. And he's like, okay, close your eyes, close your eyes. And I'm like, oh, this is so weird. I'm going to do it though. I'm going to do it. And as uptight as I was, you know, I did it. And he wanted us to visualize the holidays and just our house full with family and people that we love, and the lights, and, you know, having the lights as much as we want. And in my mind, I'm thinking Griswold it out, but not having to worry about the electric bill. And then he was like, I want you to envision your kitchen and the food that you've had brought in. And you didn't have to prepare it if you didn't want to. You could afford for someone else to prepare it. And you didn't have to worry about the bill. You just got to love on your people. And the gifts that you wanted to get, and just, you know, and y'all, and to be honest, the house that I saw in that moment is the house I have now. And the hilarious thing is in that I saw trees, but I built a house in like the desert in West Texas. And I didn't think like our land that we have now, it didn't have any trees. It had like little bitty short mesquite trees that are like, you know, shorter than me. But when we met with our landscaper, he actually, like, we have trees. And so I'm like, oh my gosh, like it worked out, you know, that vision. And y'all, it wasn't about like gifts or elf. It was about options to be able to do what I wanted to do for the people that I love and not have to worry. And y'all, I'll never forget those first few times I went to the grocery store and didn't have to check my bank account before I walked in. And so the motivation that you have, y'all, motivation, it doesn't last. Like, you can be like stoked tonight. You could have been stoked last night. Coop did an amazing job. Thank you. I've been able to hop on these. It's been so fun. But then, like, y'all, life happens. Like, I can get off this and my kids mess up the house when the cleaning ladies came today. You know what I mean? Like, life happens and you have distractions everywhere. Or I could be on a mission. I've got to go get this done. I got to go get this done. And then, no, the kids need something. Or do you need your phone? Or, you know, whatever. And so your motivation, like, you're just pumped up. Yeah, die hard, whatever. That doesn't last. But a vision that you have, that's what lasts, y'all. And where there is vision, there is provision. And there's not going to be a seed that is planted in your mind, y'all, that you can't make come to fruition. It's just about you doing the things and keeping that vision in mind. That's why the vision boards are so important. I mean, I'm looking at mine over here. And yeah, are there a lot of things on that vision board that didn't happen this year because it's 2020? Yes, but that doesn't mean that those things aren't going to eventually happen, or maybe something better is going to happen, right? But you've got to know what you want. One of the challenges that I presented, I always present challenges out there, but one of the challenges that I gave my frontline was I wanted them to write a 10-year statement. Because see, like, I'm not in this for the here and now. Like, I'm like, what can I do today to keep this thing around and alive, and people still getting on things like this, which God knows the technology we're going to have in the next 10, 20 years. Like, we're going to be like in each other's homes somehow. I don't know. But to keep this thing around for the next 20 years. Because the foundation, y'all, that they have built with this company, it's built to be here for 20. Y'all, I just told you guys I'm about to celebrate 7. And I will tell you that has gone by in the blink of an eye. It is crazy to me to think that I've been doing this for 7 years. So what can I do today that keeps this thing around for the next 20 years? But where do I want to be in 10 years? And so I had them actually write out statements, and I wrote mine out and I read it to them first just to kind of give them, but basically that statement is like in the present tense, 10 years from now, what I want. And how this has allowed me, y'all, this is a vehicle. This is not your end all be all. 12K is not your end all be all. Okay. Getting your car paid for every single month is a huge financial relief, but what can that mean for your family? And then how can you use that to create a better financial future for your family, right? How can you use that continuously to just create option after option after option after option? Is there anybody on here that wants to be stuck? I don't think so. Like, I hated being stuck. And that's exactly where I was before this entered my life. I was stuck physically. I was stuck financially. I was stuck emotionally, for dang sure. And this changed that, right? But if I'm not careful, I could get stuck again. I could have all these blessings and I could make poor financial decisions. That ain't happening. Just letting you know. I'm so grateful for our second chance, like I said. And it's one of those things, like, you've been there, done that, you learn, right? But physically, I could be stuck again, I guess, if I didn't take my Thrive every day, right? If I didn't get my body moving. I could be stuck mentally if I let all the freaking negativity, like, surround. I mean, it's surrounding all of us. All of us could get sucked into that. No, I'm not going to be stuck emotionally because of the negative. Because if we all take a moment just to count the blessings, and I'm not saying that life is always hunky-dory. And as far as giving grace to you guys, when you have a bad day, a bad week, a bad month, a bad year, I get it. But what keeps you going in those rough times is that vision that you have. And it's not a vision that Leanne paints for you or Q paints for you. It's not anyone else's vision. It's that vision that you have for yourself and for your family and what you want out of this. And you know what I love about this is, like, we all have so many different things in mind, as to what would be ideal for our families. And then like I said to you guys, I mean, if you could see what I've seen over the last 7 years, you would go and you would not stop, and you would not let someone take the fire out of you. You wouldn't let somebody pour cold water on you. You would flood to thrivers and your thriving community versus running away from them. Because sometimes when we get in a funk, we're like, I don't even want to be around those happy people, right? And honestly, that's one of the things that I'm most excited about next week, because the people that are actually going to be joining me in Florida, I have been with them for quite a while. And honestly, I've been able to personally watch their lives change for the better. And that is the coolest thing ever. And Brenda, I love that you're putting out there that I'd love to be debt free. Just start, get it out, outline it, find that what is the smallest thing. And then I want you to let us know whatever that smallest bill is that you've got. If it's a credit card, if it's something you finance, whatever it may be, I want you to let us know, y'all, I paid off this, or you know what I mean? Like, celebrate that. And then we will celebrate that with you. And you know what's going to happen is, like, that feeling of accomplishment. You're like, oh my gosh, I'm going to do the next, and then I'm going to do the next, and I'm going to do the next. And yes, to be debt free, that probably means you're not getting a Louis Vuitton. But guess what? That's okay. I didn't get my Louis Vuitton until I had done a whole. There's some of you people got way more than I did at the beginning. No, but again, that wasn't important to me, and I get it if that's important to you. Like, I'm just going to give you a heck about it. But to me, I wanted that freedom. I'd heard people talk about financial peace. I'd heard people talk about debt freedom, and I'm like, I want that. I want that. I want that. I want that. And I want options, and I want my college paid off, and I want college funds for my kids. And, and now, here I am, I'm like, oh my gosh, in the next 10 years, I'll probably be a grandmother. I have my kids all spread out. I have 2 of them leaving the house, and then I'll go into grandma mode. Right. But this is giving me that freedom. Okay. So I want to have that same freedom for the rest of my life. So I'm going to keep doing what I do, so that I can have that, right? And how do I get there? I've got to keep talking about what's changed my life and keep painting that picture of possibility. And then it's my job to look at you guys like Paul looked at me and say, girl, who do you know? You've got a lot of tired, exhausted mama friends that need this. And I'm not discounting you men, but let's face it, this company has been built. We built a multi-billion-dollar global brand by helping tired, exhausted mamas and the people that love them. Okay. So, I think that, Susan, that would make me a great grandma. I know. Well, I mean, it's happening in the next 10 years. Like, odds are it could probably happen in the next 10 years. But yeah, just, I know I've kind of gone on and on with just sharing my story and what's on my heart, but, I'm hoping that it's painting a picture for you guys. Like, because at the end of the day, we can give you, I know you've already had some amazing Thrive revivals. All right. I've been on some of these. And we have Zooms all the time. You have amazing leadership. I mean, you guys have some of the best, right? But we could talk about that stuff all day long, and we can give you all the tools. But at the end of the day, it's about you doing something with it because you get something out of it. It's what you want. And like I said, the coolest part about it is all of us have something different that we want. And if you don't know what you want, you got to knock that off. If you don't know what you want, you're flat out blocking your blessings. You are afraid to want something better for your family. And that is not right. You are allowed to prosper. You are allowed to dream big. You're allowed to have more. You know, so do not block your blessing, but don't get so laser focused in the here and now because the here and now isn't nearly as rewarding, y'all, as the long-term goal. I mean, it's kind of like those of you that don't know, when we were building our home, for about 40 days, we lived in a 31-foot bumper pull camper, all 6 of us. Okay. So imagine me doing team calls, 3-way calls. My kids are obviously within 30 feet of me 24/7. So most of the time I would go out to my Cadillac Escalade that was worth more than the home we lived in at the time. Okay. But, and then we transitioned. So I was able to tolerate that. Wasn't the best scenario, right? Wasn't ideal. 6 people in a camper, 4 kids. I always tell everybody there's nothing meek and mild about any of my children. They are loud and big and proud and obnoxious, and they're spunky. Like, I don't know who they get it from. But I was able to do that because I knew that soon, and I could see that outside they were building what you call like a barn dominium. So like a metal building that had a 2-bedroom, 2-bath, 900 square foot apartment in it. So I could see outside there was work being done. I wasn't going to be in that situation for forever. There was work being done, so I could tolerate it, right? Well, then, we may have to mute somebody. Then I was able to live in that 900, y'all, when we moved into that 2-bedroom, 2-bath apartment, we thought we were in a mansion because we lived in that 31-foot bumper pool. I mean, perspective is reality, right? And so, but I was able to do that because there was a lot of work being put in. And outside of that, we were building my home that we live in now. Now, I will tell you, while we built this home, I was never home because I was traveling as much as possible to be in a room of thrivers. And the hard part about that is there were some big things that were decisions, like big things they did here, and I wasn't here, and then they were wrong, and then they had to be fixed. No, but I worked my tail off because I had something that people could benefit from. And if I could get in a room with people, it was even better. And I love what I do, but I was also working towards something that I wanted. I was building a home. And honestly, I mean, I really do feel like this is our forever home for my family. See? But I could do all of that because there was something greater. You see what I'm saying? It wasn't about a rank. It wasn't about this weekly check. It wasn't about this. It was my home. See? And I wanted a home that was big enough for my kids to have their friends over and make a lot of memories. And you know what I mean? Like it was far beyond a house. It was creating a home. So, and I've shared with you guys kind of what, my main goals are now, those visions of I've tasted freedom. I want that for the rest of my life. So I'm going to keep doing. So I want to ask you guys, I want you to really think about that. What do you want? What do you want? There's going to be some, right now, everybody's like, girl, I just want to go to Cabo. Like, I want to go to Cabo. I want to qualify for Cabo. We need the beach. We need sun. We need all of that. Yes. Okay. You want to go to Cabo. You want to eliminate debt. Okay. You want to hit your car bonus. Yes. But I want you to go beyond that too. And I don't want you to get discouraged, because see, those things, it's not going to happen overnight. It's going to take work, but you're going to see work happening. When you're dialed into our 90-day challenge, when you're doing our 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 every single day, when you're doing the above and beyond challenges, when you're connecting people, when you're like, holy crap, I got 25 messages in my inbox, I've sent 25 messages today. See, you're going to see the work being done that's going to lead you to what you want. So hopefully I haven't rambled too much. I haven't even given you a second to ask me questions. I think I just needed to be on with you people. It has been so fun tonight to be on with you guys. Do you have anything for me as we close out? We've already been on here 48 minutes. That means I'm done. We're cutting me off.
You are done. Nobody wants to cut you off, but I do have a question, because I've asked everybody this all week. What was the moment or the event that happened that you said, oh my goodness, this is my life?
Probably that very first Lavelle local. And fortunately I was, well, I don't know. There's been a lot of events, but I will tell you, there was something about Paul and Jason painting the picture of the company. And back then we could say how much weekly checks were. And I heard how much, and Tony shared how much her weekly check was. And I was like, and let me tell you, I have never, ever, I'm not jealous of anyone. I'm like, oh girl, if she can do that, I can do that. And that's the swagger that you guys have got to get when it comes to this. If Leanne can do that, I can do that. If Q can do that, I can do that. And when I heard what Tony's weekly check was, I was like, oh yeah, I'm in. Like I didn't know when I was going to get that weekly check, but I knew I was going to get that weekly check because Tony had the same thing I did. My advantage, I knew a whole lot more exhausted mama as I thought. I don't know. But I guess I always looked at, I have an advantage. Like I didn't look at it as Tony's got an advantage. I need to be jealous of her or whatever. No, I've got an advantage. I know I have 4 kids. I have lots of tired mama friends. I'm going to help them all. And let me tell you guys, I'm still on a mission to help them all. I still have very good friends that do not thrive with me yet. They love me. They support me. I tell you, and that's one thing that I've had to learn the hard way, because for me, I'm like, why on earth would someone not want to thrive? Like, I can't process that. But y'all, it's not for everyone. Like, everybody doesn't like wintergreen gum. Everybody doesn't, you know what I mean? And just because you offer that, you love it, you offer that to them, they're like, no, you're not going to change their mind. And so don't get caught up or want to quit because the person that you know could benefit from this the most will not do it with you. Please do not let that discourage you. You've just got to stay consistent and connecting and sharing, okay? So you can find that person. And you got to find who in the world is going to bed tonight praying that they can make it through the weekend, who is going to bed tonight praying they can have a good night's sleep and wake up rested tomorrow. Who's going to bed tonight, going, I've got to have a solution, and then you just got to find those people, but you can't find those people unless you're sharing and you're connecting, right? So thank y'all so much for having me on.
Thank you. Thank you for taking the time to give us some millionaire tips. And you guys heard it from her. Like the moment you say, I can do that too, your whole life can change. So,
for sure.
Yes. For sure. As long as we don't have it, Leanne, do you have anything? Anybody have anything before we let her go?
No, I just want to thank you. The 10-year challenge is been amazing. I kind of forgot like the things that were on my original vision board with where my life is now and how things can be so different, how things can change, and how your long-term goals can be so different than the here and now. So
for sure.
with that, like she challenged you guys, like dream bigger. I know like my best friend on here will tell you guys, like she never was a big dreamer. She's never been a big dreamer. And I hope that this challenges you guys to see the bigger picture and the bigger thing. Because where could my kids are going to be 18 and 16 in 10 years from now? Like the goals I want for them are huge, the things I want to be able to provide for them. So just dream big, guys. And thank you so much, Mauria. I can't wait to see you on Monday.
Yeah, I would love for you guys to write out your challenges and then send them into your leaders, or your statements, your 10-year statements, and send them to your leader. And then with that, there's, you know, nothing wrong with saying, oh, and by the way, here's my here and now. Like, this is what I'm going for here and now. There's magic, y'all. There's magic to writing down what you want. There's magic to seeing it. And then there's also a lot that happens when you share what you desire with other people, and especially those people that love you, that are working with you, you know, because if Leanne knows your goal and you pop into Leanne's messenger and you're like, hey, will you connect with this person? In her mind, she's thinking, I know exactly what this girl is going for. And you know what I mean? Like when we're all communicating together, it makes it so much more fun. So we're always so much better together. Oh my gosh, I have to stop talking. I'm muting myself out. Thank you guys so much for tonight. It was so fun. We'll see you guys soon.
Everybody get a picture for their story. Get a picture.
Oh, hey guys.
Hold on.
1, 2, 3. All right. We have best
See you guys
friends.
later. Bye.
Thank you, Mauria.